Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. Um, just making these random videos. More for me, I think, but um, because there's a lot going on and probably I need a vent. This be like the journal of a day in the life of America. Um, I just watched a video where a woman, an immigrant woman, I'll say immigrant, because I don't know her nationality, but she had an accent. But that's most of America, and the only real Americans are the indigenous Native Americans. Um, so we're all immigrants. We're all immigrants. Anyway, so she's in her car, and then who the frump people um, break her window, reach in, unlock, and take her, kidnap her in front of her screaming daughter. So that's great. That's just great. Um, that's really what I feel like we should focus on, but we are also focusing on his illegal acts of insider trading, which Martha Stewart went to jail for insider trading for much less. But I knew it. I knew that's what this was. I knew that 45 was playing the market so that people would they want everyone to be poor. And anyone who's not in the 1%, they want them to be poor. Um, that was part of Project 2025, but also to, what is it? Everybody sells, right? And then they buy. They gobble it up. And MTG yesterday, literally after he sent out that post, it's a good time to buy. Well, she did it. Um, I don't think anyone in government should be buying stocks like that, and certainly not sending out tips, right? That was a tip. And then she went and gobbled it all up, bought a whole bunch of stocks because now they're cheap. I mean, these are people's livelihoods. The people with the, but that's a whole other issue. The real issue, oh, and the tariffs. Oh, the tariffs are off, and then he sent out the tweet. It's kind of like January 6th. Everything lined up. Um, what he did, the way he manipulated January, sent in the people, sent out the tweets, sent them in, bust them in, told them where to go, told them what to do, riled them up, told them when Mike Pence wouldn't not certify, told them to go in there. Um, they all had a plan. This was a plan. This was planned. Just like January 6th, this was all planned. And it'll happen again. People are saying, wow, I can't believe he caved. He didn't cave. This was all planned to a T, just like Jan 6. But there are more things than that to be talking about in this world. And that's these people, Americans, immigrant Americans, we're all immigrants who are just being kidnapped. Here's the thing. Let's say you need to call the fire department. Well, you're probably not going to. Nobody's going to call the cops or the fire department or ambulance if there might be some loyalist in there who's just going to randomly deport people. And, like today, for instance, something happened today. Okay, I'll tell the story. This is where I'm really venting. Homeless guy. He's approached Kiara and I at the park before, and I'm always kind. I never have cash. If I had cash, I would definitely have said, hey, you want $5? You can go buy some food. I would have done that. I never have cash. And each time I go there, I never think I'm going to see him again because you just think, well, somebody will help him. Like he'll go to the homeless shelter, or he has friends that have been showing up, I've noticed. I don't know if they're family friends, but anyway. But yeah, well, anyway. So he sleeps there. So there's that danger thing of like, I'll always be kind, always. Smile, hello, good morning. But also, I'm on the edge because he kind of had that little bit of Charles Manson look and feel about him. But anyway, so each time I go, and one time he walked all the way across the park. And then I saw him come back with this huge like piece of wood. I don't know where he got it. I was like, what is he? And I thought, well, maybe he's making a tent. So just kind of curiosity. Another time I saw him just laying in his sleeping bag on the lawn, and it's cold. It was like it was a frosty morning, and that's the day that I saw his friends or family show up and bring him food. Like people have been bringing him food, so people know about this guy and they bring him food. Okay, so today I go to the park and I'm kind of distracted because there's all these high schoolers there on a field trip and they're taking pictures. But I look over and I see his sleeping bag and it's all like tied up. And it's clearly a body in there and it's clearly must be him because that's who else would it be? And I think, oh my God, is he dead? And I thought, well, if he's not, and I call the cops, we could have a situation where they uh, send him off to Guatemala and he's never seen again. He's sent to some prison out of the country by this regime. And I think, well, I don't want to do that. He's been here before. He knows how to survive outside. He's probably fine, but I don't know. I don't want to call the cops. And then the city, the sanitation workers are there to throw out the trash, to get the trash and throw, whatever, they collect the trash. And I think, okay, well, surely they see him. So there, they see him. And then just ignore him. And I think, like, sarcastically in my head, intrusive thought, think, don't forget the dead body. As you drive away, like, why aren't they doing anything either? I think that's how I cope with my sarcasm, unfortunately. Anyway, I take Karen for a walk. It's a beautiful walk. Go around and come back. And now the family friends have come up, and they're dealing with it. And I see there's an arm hanging out of the sleeping bag, and it doesn't look like he's alive. The guy doesn't look, and I think, well, and there's 3 guys, and I think, well, they're gonna deal with them. And then I'm just like driving home and I just start crying and I just think, look at where we are. Like any of us could be homeless at any time, like I've faced homelessness this last year and it's not a fun thought. And I've starved and we're all looking at starving again in America because food's not going to be affordable anymore. So many of us are just going to starve, to be honest. So any of us could be him, and all of us at any time are on the edge of always being homeless and they are at the edge of starvation. All of us, not one person is safe from that. But I just thought, what a world we live in. This poor guy, the first time that he walked by, he came out across the field and yeah, he looked like Charles Manson. So I was a little like, and he came over and I'm like, he's heading over. And he heads for Kieran. And of course, Kieran had just been attacked by some dogs. So I'm leery of that. And I've had that experience a few times. But he comes up and he's nice to Kieran and he pets him. And of course, Kieran jumps away because he's freaky about people, right? Which he should be. And I say, good morning. And he says something like, dogs, blah, 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 blah. Dogs are nicer than humans. And I think, well, I must be giving off the vibe of that I don't trust him, which I don't. But still, you're kind to people and wish them the best. And I do. Every time I see the guy, I wish him the best. And I wish for him to have food. I wish for him to have shelter. But I also realize that some people don't want to be in a house. They're not ready. Whatever has happened to them in their life, they have chosen to be. And I'm not saying that homelessness is something that everyone chooses. I'm saying some people would rather be nomads and be outside and live like that than to be in a society with people like 45 and MAGA or even people like me, that they see as some sort of status quo. What would you call it? Well, anyway. And I have a lot of protection that I put around myself, so I don't trust people. I'm sure he sensed that. But yeah, it's really bothered me to see him He's probably dead and they're taking care of it. Thank God. I'm glad that the family that loves him, friends, family, are taking care of him. But again, the whole thing where you can't call the cops. You can't call the cops. You can't call anyone. There's no one in America to trust anymore. That's the problem. You can't trust the people we were supposed to trust. It's all gone. 45 ruined that. I would no more call. It's just, anyway, it's upsetting to me. It's just, you see someone like that. I do believe that a lot of childhood abuse, sexual abuse, contributes to a lot of the homeless people we see. And it doesn't have to do with someone being lazy or in fact, a lot of homeless people are super educated, um, too smart, and then their brains start to attack them, and then they, have a lot of intrusive thoughts. And again, we're all of us are one step away from it. That's why we have to have compassion, like that post I wrote today about how money is an earthly thing, and it can do good things, right? Money can do wonderful. It can feed somebody, but also it's an earthly object. The first money was clay tablets that accounted for things, food purchases. You know what I mean? Items like an inventory. That was a form of currency, keeping track. And then it probably turned into silver and gold, and now we have paper, and now we have Bitcoin. But it's all money. It's from the earth. It's an earthly concept, and it ties us to the earth. Being grounded is good, but if you're only stuck to the earth and you're not using your heart space, which is your compassion, and then your enlightened space, which is up there in your crown chakra, which is connection to the divine, your higher self, your true self, your truth, then yeah, you're tied to the earth. And I just feel like right now 45 is trying to pull us all down with money, greed, fears of money, fears of homelessness, fears of hunger, fears of sickness, and all. And he's really trying to tie us to this fear and make us all like him, survival. And he's playing the apprentice. And like I said yesterday, the White House has turned into his boardroom, and they don't care about all of us. I mean, like, that's. But anyway, I'm just venting. Is there anything else I wanted to say? It's just so sad. Oh, Rome. I talked about Rome. How I was looking at how did Rome fall, and basically what's happening now is how Rome fell. Greed, power plays, bad investing, lies. I'll post what I found about that, but it's so true. This is Rome. We're in Rome right now. The Roman Empire. And what happened there? We all know what happened there. Also, I saw a meme. Well, it wasn't a meme. It was someone, like a Republican, equated 45 to Jesus. And I was like, there you go. See, I said it's going to happen on Easter. That's why he picked, one reason he picked Easter is he's going to say he's been resurrected, and he's going to start calling himself Jesus. But I can tell you now that if Jesus was here in physical form as the man Jesus, because Jesus was a man on earth, now he's just like all over the place in different people and energies and light and all that stuff. But as a man, Jesus, he was really angry at someone like 45 for bastardizing what was sacredness of life and a connection to the divine, and the lies and greed and deception, and using what would be sacred. Like the White House could be the sacred, almost like a temple. That's why Biden was so effective, because he did use the White House as a place of, as a tool for helping others. I know that he failed in different ways. I know that. But Biden did use the White House as a place of very thoughtful action. Everything he did was very thoughtful, tied to a sense of ethics and compassion. And the compassion got him into trouble a lot. And also, he trusted some of the wrong people. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'll shut up. I was just upset about this guy. You don't see someone's arm hanging out, lifeless arm hanging out of a sleeping bag every day. It's pretty upsetting. I'm pretty shocked by it, and yeah, it's so many times when I thought I should get him food, but then if I do that, it's like, I don't want to fight this guy and get too close to someone, and just a simple act. Again, if I had had cash on me, I would have given it to him, hands down. I would have just gone up real fast and been, hey, dude, here's $5. You don't say anything, just take it. But I didn't do that because I have so many trust issues, and as in getting near someone who could potentially hurt me. You know what I mean? And that is like that fear. See, I have my ego, right? I have an ego. Just as human, that's all. Just trying to help someone out. But I always would be kind and always send a smile and a prayer. I would always say a prayer and a protection for him. But again, I don't know, we can do better. I was thinking about the Iroquois and how they wrote the Great Plan of Peace, which was democracy. And we are a democratic country, no matter what anyone says. We started with democracy, and the Constitution is based off the Iroquois' Great Plan of Peace. And it gave women power for property and the deciding rights upon who controlled property and the tribes. Nothing that we do I feel like that's the way. That's the way. We should all look at the Iroquois and this great plan of peace, and we should change everything in America. And my thought is that the indigenous people all go to the White House and have like this huge powwow, and until it just drowns out, excuse my French, drowns out and overwhelms the entire White House. It's like I said, it's good that we have our marches. We're going to have another. We're going to have to keep having them. I agree with that totally. But 45 doesn't care. The only thing he cares about is, it shows that he didn't have the numbers. He didn't win. He didn't have the votes. Most people can't stand him and didn't vote for him. That's what really bothers him. But it doesn't make him change. He's not going to do nice things. What I think would be really interesting is if the real Americans, the indigenous people, all marched to the White House and had a huge powwow and just kind of, not an insurrection, not overtake it, but almost like change the energy with a huge powwow, and like sage the hell out of the place, honestly. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'll stop. I'll send this out. Just me. It's almost like a journal, because what am I contributing? I don't know. I'm just talking my head off. Thanks for listening. Bye.